A man named John used to live in a city. He was hard-working and diligent. He worked on many small-time jobs and finally landed a job as a car salesman in one of the best firms in the city. With his hard work and determination, he grew in ranks and soon became the best salesman. With time, he opened his own car showroom in another city. John had 2 sons. He loved them and wanted them to have the best education possible. By the time he grew old, his sons had completed their MBA from the best institutes. Meanwhile, John had expanded his business to multiple showrooms across the country. John was proud of his sons and he soon offered them positions in one of his own showrooms. On the first day of their job, John asked them to go to their manager and understand the business. The boys were seemingly displeased by this. They had MBA degrees and moreover this was their family business. Also, they came to know that the manager wasn't an MBA. He was promoted from a star salesman to a manager. So what's the point of getting trained from manager who worked for their dad and wasn't even an MBA? When John came to know about the situation, he was taken aback. In order to make them realize their mistake, he called them and asked to sell the cars kept in this showroom. However, he added that one of you needs to sell half of the cars and the other one needs to sell 1/3 of the cars. He added, you will get commission based on the number of cars you sell. If you do so by this weekend, you will no longer have to work with the manager. It's a deal, both of them said happily. But when they reached the showroom, they were surprised to see that there were 5 cars. Selling half the cars meant selling 2.5 cars, which was impossible. Selling 1/3 of the cars meant selling 1.67 cars, which was again impossible. They went over the issue multiple times but they couldn't figure out any solution. 2 days passed and it was Thursday evening now. They were annoyed by the fact that their dad had tricked them into doing an impossible task. After much consideration, they decided to take help of the manager. He was an experienced person. He heard them carefully. Then he said to the boys, I'll lend you one of the cars from the garage. Then you will have 6 cars in the showroom. The boys immediately protested. But this is not fair. We were supposed to sell only 5 cars previously. Now we are supposed to sell 6 cars in total. The manager smiled and said, you think so? Let us recalculate then. Now with 6 cars at hand, the one of you gets to sell half of them. That is 3. The other one gets to sell 1/3. That is 2 cars. That means the original 5 cars need to be sold. Also, the extra car goes back into the garage. This is brilliant, said the boys. But how did you think of this solution to the problem? The manager smiled and said, "Can you tell me what was the problem?" The boys said that the problem was we didn't want to break the cars to achieve our individual targets. The manager said, "This is where you are wrong. This was never the problem. The problem was not about the cars. The problem was in the numbers. Let me take you step by step towards the lessons your father wanted you to learn." When he said you need to sell half and 1/3 of the cars, you should have asked a question: how many cars are there in the showroom? The first lesson for you is that you need to ask the right questions before making any commitments. Your dad is a wise man, and an even better businessman. He knew 5 cars couldn't be divided into half or 1/3. He just created a box in the form of the 5 cars. He just wanted you to think rationally and look outside the box. So your second lesson is, sometimes you need to look outside the box to solve your problems. That is what I did. I didn't focus on the cars but on the numbers. Which is the lowest number which can be divided into both half and 1/3. The boys said that it will be the LCM of 2 and 3, that is 6. The manager then said, "Well, that was your answer. You just had to assume you had one more car. I am pretty sure you would have made many assumptions while proving LHS equals RHS in mathematical theorems." The boys said angrily, "Of course we did. But we never thought we needed to implement something as basic as LCM to resolve our problem. We are, after all, MD is from a reputed college." You can ask us any concept that was taught to us in the curriculum. Solving such silly puzzles is not what we are supposed to do. We are here to do the complex work. Well, there goes your lesson number 3. Life's challenges do not come from the books you studied. The fourth lesson is, don't overthink on the problem, think about the solution. It doesn't always have to be a complex one. Now when you understand where the problem was, let us test another fancy word from your MBA dictionary. Impact analysis. Tell me what would have happened if you would have blindly followed the instructions. They said, we would have had to just dismantle one of the cars. Wrong again, you would have had to dismantle at least 2 cars. One of you is supposed to sell 2.5 cars and the other one 1.67 cars. Taking only the decimal portions, you needed 1.17 cars. That means you would have to dismantle 2 of the cars. Also, if your commission depends upon how many cars you sell, One of you would have sold 2 cars in place of 3 and the other one would have sold 1 car in place of 2. That means each one of you would have taken a hit of the commission on 1 car. So the lesson 4 is that you not only need to understand the problem, you also need to understand the impact your solution would have. Now comes the final lesson that your father wanted to teach you. You both were so involved in solving the riddle that you forgot you were real brothers and this is your company. The more number of cars you sell, it's good for your company. Even if your dad instructed one of you to sell half the cars and the other to sell 1/3, if you would have simply sold all the cars together, he would have been much happier. Besides the commission you would have got, it would have been better for the company also. The boys just realized how much they learnt just by talking to an experienced person. Their ego was gone and they came to understand why their dad asked them to work with the manager initially. To summarize the lessons learnt. 1. You need to ask the right questions before agreeing to any conditions. 2. Life's challenges do not always come from the books. 3. You need to understand the problem and not worry about it. 4. You also need to gauge the impact of your solution before you implement it. 5. Coopetition is always better than competition in any organization. After all, if we all work together towards the growth of the organization, we also grow along with. So, what are your thoughts on this video? Please write in the comments section. If you like this video, please make sure to like, share and subscribe to our channel. Your support means the world to us.